creative kids and creative parents. So today we have something that I think is fun. We are celebrating fall once again. We are doing leaf lanterns. All right. So what you're going to need is you're going to need I used wax paper. You can also use parchment paper or vellum. It has to be see-through, obviously, so you can see what the leaves. So that's our next thing. You need to collect some leaves. If they are wet, you need to go ahead and lay them on the paper towel like you see them here, just overnight, because they can be a little bit wet. Mine now, as you can tell, are a little bit brittle, but I'm gonna just use these to show you my demo. But a little bit wet is good because they're a little bit pliable and still movable. So you need your parchment paper, your leaves, you're gonna need some tape, some school glue, and a box. I'm using a cheese box. And you need the top and the bottom. So let's get started. So here's the deal. Let me go ahead and tell you about the box. I want you to I used a cheese box. If you don't do cheese, that's fine. You don't have to do it this way. But something that's a shallow box. So if you have a chocolate box, if you have like a jewelry box even, and it doesn't have to be a circle. I like the circle, but you could do this with a square because once you see how you put it together, you can do whatever shape you want. So what you're gonna do is leave the bottom intact and cut the top, the face of the top out. All right, put that to the side. Then you're gonna get your leaves or first your vellum or your paper. Cut 2 pieces of your wax paper, about the same, but it's gonna base it on being able to roll it all the way around. So what I did for this one is I just rolled it all the way around, and this is probably not gonna go because I just did a piece for you guys to see, but it kind of does. So don't just cut it right at the end of that. Give it a little bit more room because you want to be able to puff it out, and you'll see what I'm talking about once I get into it. All right, so here's what you do. You're gonna make a design of your leaves, and let me see here what we have left. I have some pretty big leaves. If mid-size probably would work the best, 1 or 2 big ones, as you can see, and I also did a longer lantern. Yours doesn't have to be long. In fact, today what we're actually gonna put together on this demo is a little shorter. It's probably gonna be more like right to here. All right, so for that, I would get more mid-sized leaves, kind of like this, okay? So I'm gonna, I can't even tell which side is which. Oh, so this is probably what I would call the pretty side. So you lay it at, face down, the pretty side face down. And I'm gonna put another one in there. And you kind of want to bump it up to the edges. Let me see here. That's too crumbly. You don't want them to be crumbly. So just really make sure you don't let them be as crumbly as this actually is. And it will just, it's not that it won't work. It works better if they're not. And so that's gonna be my design right now. So then you get your school glue and you're gonna go in the middle. So here's the thing, I first did too much glue and like that. I went a little nuts. And because it's gonna go, it'll dry clear, don't worry about that. But get your line all the way around so you seal it all the way. And just go in between first, and then I did go back over the leaves because that's going to be your back. So there, and then after you do that, you're just going to lay it down over top. And when you have too much glue, it's going to squeeze out. So that's why I said don't get too much. So just tap it. And then you're gonna lay that aside. So if you have to dry your leaves, like I said, give yourself a day to do that before you start this process. Lay this aside, and this should be overnight. It should be dry overnight. And then you'll come out with this. This is my front. This is my front, actually. So you can see my leaves are kind of brittly. But what you want is something that you can kind of roll up and it's still a little bit pliable. Because what you're going to do is you're going to put this together in a circle. Now I'm going to bring my box over here and show you this. So I'm going to just fit it down in my box to see where I need to tape it. And what you want to do is because at the end you're going to tape it in more than one way. Let it flare out just a little bit from where you think you should. So that's about the shape, so I gave it a little more room. And then you're going to come back and put tape around your circle. There we are. And so that's the body of it. Now I'm going to shove it back in. Okay. And I know this seems like it's not great, but you can't really tell that we're going to, once it's all done. Just make sure you put enough tape that it stays together. All right. So, then you're going to go along the bottom side and try to do this evenly. Well, it's very short. I'll leave it down there. Okay. So then just tape the bottom part to the box. And I'm going to do opposite sides. That way it stretches it out. And the glue itself, you'll find, gives the paper a little more sturdiness. So it's going to stand straight up. Don't think it's going to get too flopsy. So then you can do this. And come around and do the other side. And if it's still a little bit, you feel like it's not tethered enough, you could put some more. I'm going to put one more piece because I'm going to feel better about that. All right. And that's your bottom. Okay. And if you feel like it's not opening up enough, and if maybe you add one more piece, because I think that on this side, I'm going to add one more piece to get it to pop on out on this side. There. So then I'm going to take my top and push it on. Like that. And you're going to do the same thing. I tried to match up to the seams and then do opposite sides, same thing. And just get down like that. And then there is the completed body of your leaf lantern. So I'm realizing now that I don't have my hole punch with me, but whatever you have, you're going to want to punch 2 holes in the top here. I will take this out so you can see, because this is easy enough. Just punch yourself 2 holes, and you don't have to have a hole punch. If you have just something that has like sharp enough to go straight through, that's what you want. And just do it opposite sides. And I took a pipe cleaner and just went in there. You can also use ribbon. You can use just wire. If you just had a little piece of wire, you could use that as well. So, and that makes that. And you can see, you can make your own little fall leaf lantern. So, for those of you who are probably not going to get your cheese boxes. Let me show you. You can also use cardstock. I wanted to show you that. I do a little demo for that. So I just took 2 pieces, cut a sheet that was this large, folded it in half, and then cut along the line so I had the same width. Do that twice and make sure that one of them fits in the other, because you want it to fit kind of the same way that the cheese box does. So one of them is going to be my bottom, the one that's the outside one. So this is my bottom, and let me show you. So get your glue gun, and then we are going to glue right into it and make it stay. And this might be a little messy, and you might need to wait till it cools down just so you can get your circle. And so it's cardstock is what I used. I don't think it'll matter if it's cardstock. It's probably good for the sturdiness of the lantern itself, but I think, well, use cardstock. That's what I'm gonna say. Stick with the cardstock. Just because you're gonna wanna be able to put your little, these are little battery operated tea lights, all right? So that's probably gonna be the best way. And then after this is all dry, and this is very hot right now, so I'm not gonna do it, but you just cut around until you get your bottom. So that's another way for you to use it. All right, guys. Again, it's been good seeing some of you in the library. I hope you have fun doing this. Take your time. This is more than a one-day process. I realize that. Probably with fall, we're gonna have a couple more of those where it takes a couple days, but they'll be fun, I promise. So enjoy yourself, and I will see you next week.